Hey, it's Glenn Ackerman. I wanted to make a video here today to give you a little background for those of you who know that I do energy awareness training and I'm involved in energy and coaching and healing and all these wonderful things, but wonder, how did you get into it? And is it something really unique? And what's the difference between energy awareness training and standard healing, or people who do stuff like Reiki or Oriental medicine and stuff like that? How does that all work? So I thought I'd just give you a little bit of background on how this whole thing came about and how I got into it, especially for those of you who haven't talked to me in a while. So the background is that I got into this because I wanted to heal myself. I had things that I needed to deal with, and I was looking for a way to resolve them. Just a little background. I grew up in a very loving household. But like many of you, there was a lot of tension and anxiety and stress and yelling and shouting. And it got to the point as a teenager where I couldn't take it anymore. There was just too much tension. And so I left home at an early age, happy to be rid of, that extreme anxiety situation. But little did I know that even though I left, I thought I left the anxiety and stress and worry behind, it didn't leave me behind, and it stayed with me as I went into my journey in life. So like most typical young men, we want to conquer the world and be super successful and live our dreams and be the king of our worlds, the champion, so to speak. And I'm no less. I went and pursued many things. Went into music composition, playing, went to music school, graduated, started working in that industry. It was my life's desire. But one of the things that I started to notice was I noticed that the situations that I had left, that I thought I left back at home, still were with me. And I still dealt with anxiety and dealt with stress and dealt with self-image, and dealt with that voice inside our heads, that voice that says, you're not worthy, you're not good enough, other people are better than you. It's like a professional negative, I call it an emotional terrorist in your head that's always trying to frame things, in a bad or a negative light. And I took this with me, all through the different things I'm doing, not just in music, but in the different other things I did. And in fact, it got to a point where I knew I had to do something about this. I don't even know what to call it, this force, this thing, the voice inside my head and the feelings, because I thought, I look around and everybody would look so normal. Everybody seemed to be happy and seemed to be living good lives. And I guess I was the only one who was born with this negative voice in my head and this uneasiness. And I was pretty good at masking it. You never would have known, I kind of did the opposite, kind of put on the act of, super confident and bravado and tough guy, etc. And the reality was that was all an act to cover up the feelings of insecurity and not feeling good enough, not feeling that I was able to make my mark in the world. So I got into the personal development industry and looking desperately for something that could alleviate the tension that I was going through. And so I started reading books, even at a young age, started reading books and, how to overcome this, how to be successful at this, how to do this. And I'd go from one book to the other, to the other, to the other. And then I'd take courses and seminars and workshops, and took so many of them that I became a facilitator of many of them. I started teaching them myself. And even though I made some progress in those things, that force, that element, that the anxiety and stress and the fears and the worries that kept going on inside me were not alleviated. I was able to hold them down and live with them, but it's a lot different to hold them down and live with them than to erase them or neutralize them and dissolve them. So going through this time, in fact, that's probably where I met a lot of you who knew me through these different workshops and seminars and stuff. I came across an alarming fact, and the alarming fact is that 97% of the people who participate in personal development, books, programs, seminars, trainings, etc., don't get the results they want. 97%. 3% do, but the 97% don't. So they go on to the next book, or they go on to the next seminar or the next workshop, etc., and on and on and on it goes. And I was one of those people who just thought, is this ever going to end? You know, almost 2 decades of searching for peace, for to resolve, you know, these issues, just ended into a never-ending search. But along the way of my journey, I was fortunate to be able to have 3 very important teachers. One who taught me all about the world of energy, and another teacher who taught me all about the spiritual traditions and how the higher spiritual worlds work, and another one who taught me about neurolinguistics and neurophysiology and how neuroscience works. And I turned a corner in learning those things because they had a great effect on me. And that led me into the fields of energy medicine and energy psychology. And that was the dawning and the awakening of the possibility that I could actually heal myself, that I could actually overcome these inner forces at work that were constantly trying to pull me down. You know, maybe you guys experience, you know, you're here and you want to be here. And you start trying to move up, you get closer and you get closer, and then something pulls you back down. And you start getting close, and then something pulls you back down again. And you think you're making progress, and you take 2 steps forward and you take 3 steps back. So that was kind of the process that I was in through the years of searching for, you know, self-healing and to be able to move, as I mentioned, the force out. And what this force was, I realized, was an energy. The force was an energy, and it was they were hidden energies that I wasn't aware of. And as I continued my studies and continued my progress, all of the things that I had learned, you know, in the past 2 decades started to align. And you know, with the energy work and the neuro work and the spiritual work, all kind of came together. And there came a time when I was, for lack of a better word, downloaded or revealed an understanding, a way of being able to recognize and see hidden energies and hidden energy patterns. And that was the eureka of my journey, because I recognized that I knew from the patterns of self-sabotage and frustration and not being able to achieve the things that I wanted to, that there was something going on. There was some kind of force or factors that were creating the end result. So that's how I was able to recognize the hidden energies, by the end results that they produced. So what do I mean by hidden energies? I mean that there are forces inside us that are influencing us, you know, and no one ever taught us about it. In all the years I studied personal development, no one ever told me about these energies that are so obvious if you think about it. Because when you think about the term self-sabotage, what's that? Well, it can be defined as one part of us wants to go one way and another part of us wants to go the other way. And there's kind of like an inner tug of war for the directions that we're going to go to. So, for example, you know, part of us may want to lose weight, but another part of us likes to eat ice cream at night, right? Or some of us want to eat healthy, but another part of us, you know, loves those Fritos, you know, etc. it's kind of ironic. We find ourselves doing the things that we know we shouldn't do and not doing the things we know we should do. And it's like there was some kind of interference pattern going on. Well, I recognize that as energy, as hidden energies or directions. What do I mean by energies? Thoughts, feelings, emotions, behaviors that pull us in a certain direction. And most of the time we're not aware of that. We're not aware that there's a hidden influence that we're dealing with until we get to the place where we go, oh no, how did I do that? Why did I let myself do that? How could I have done that? You know, we get to the end result, but we don't know how we got there. Well, when I discovered energy awareness, the ability to see these hidden energies and the ability to deal with them, it was like an awakening. It was like being able to have X-ray vision, to be able to see another dimension of life that I had never known about, or no one ever told me about, that I stumbled upon my own. And the ability to recognize these hidden frequencies that we all have, all of us are dealing with this, was the beginning of an emancipation, a freedom, so to speak. Because these hidden energies, you know, it's like an iceberg. The great metaphor, 10% above the water, 90% below the water. And the Titanic wasn't sunk by the 10% it could see, it was sunk by the 90% that it couldn't see. So I was saying in my trainings that goes like this: that which we can see, we can control. That which we can't see controls us. And this is the hidden answer. This is the missing link to all personal development or self-growth programs. Because most of the programs are just dealing with the 10%, the mental level, the thinking level. And while that's very important, it's only 10% of the puzzle. Dealing with the hidden energies that are operating inside us is the 90%. And that's the factor that can lead us to rapid and permanent change. Now, where do these hidden energies come from? Well, that's a great question. They come from a lot of different places. They can come from our childhood. They can come from our adolescence or our teenage years. They can come from the beliefs that we have about what's possible or what's not possible. They can come from the upsetting emotions or the traumas that we've been through growing up. They can also come from our ancestors. There's a new science called epigenetics that state that we can inherit emotional traits and emotional traits from our ancestors. And, you know, every nationality is famous for certain things, some for drinking, some for eating, some for fighting, some for, you know, whatever. And these things are passed down, you know, through the genes. Amazing. That's a amazing study of epigenetics if you get a chance to look at that. Dr. Bruce Lipton does a lot of work in that field. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm mentioning hidden energies. And these energies have a power, they have a purpose, they have a frequency, they run in a direction, and they give off information. So when I realized that we're living in an energetic planet, that everything that we do and occupy ourselves with is a interaction of energy, or an energy exchange, so to speak. Everything from going to work, from making money, to, you know, having a relationship or a marriage or a relationship with friends or children, making money, health, keeping yourself healthy. It's all directly correlated to the energy that's running below what we see. So this really blew me away when I understood this, and when I could actually see that when you're energetically aware, you can see hidden factors that most people can't see. So, for example, you know, you go into a relationship and you date someone. If this ever happened to you, you date someone, and in the beginning you think, well, gee, they seem good, they seem good, sounds good, feels good, let's give it a try. And you go into it, and it's good for a while, and then it shifts, and then over time, the relationship, or you or the person you're in a relationship with, shifts and changes. And the whole thing becomes so much different than what it used to be. And then turmoil happens, chaos happens, disruption, distractions, and the thing ends in heartbreak. And when the things end, you go, oh my gosh, why did I get involved in this thing? I should have known, if only I had known then what I know now, I never would have done it, right? We've all said that. Well, my question is, why didn't you know? Or how about this one? There was a voice in me that said, don't do it. It said, don't do it, you're going to regret it. But I didn't listen to that voice. Well, why didn't you listen to that voice? So what we get from that is there were factors, there were signs, there was information that was there to help you make a better decision, and you didn't take advantage of it. And this is one of the advantages of being energetically aware. You see, we live in a three-dimensional world. The average operating space for most people is a three-dimensional world. And in the three dimensions, it's usually, hey, what we can see, what we can hear, what we can feel, what we can taste, etc. But science says that there's 10, 11, 12, maybe more dimensions of reality, according to the latest studies of string theory and quantum physics. Well, if there's 10 or 12 dimensions and we're only operating in 3, that means we're seeing less than 10 to 20% of reality of what's going on. And that's one of the reasons why we make mistakes, because we don't see the whole picture. If we could only see the whole picture, then we could be happier, we could make better choices, and we could live the life that we aspire to. So this is kind of the journey that I've been on to awaken and heal. And being energetically aware, being able to read the hidden energies, I was able to see where my anxiety came from. I was able to see the energetic patterns that were causing me stress or fear. And I was able to locate the source of that voice in my head and where it was coming from and why it was coming. But here's the most important thing. I was able to identify and dissolve and release and disconnect myself from that negative, that bad, that low vibration energy, and be able to finally live the life I knew I was capable of living with the freedom and the happiness and the energy. Let's call it what it is. The energy of feeling happy, joyous, free, blessed, and comfortable and safe being me. And I think that's what every human being wants, and it's a struggle that we all have in one form or another, because every human being has issues to deal with. What do I mean by issues? Issues are some form of behavior or some kind of situation that we have to deal with over and over again, and we don't seem to get resolution from it. And that's what was happening to me all these years. Well, through the revelation of energy awareness and energy awareness training, I was able to locate those things, and not only locate them, find the source of how they affected me and neutralize and dissolve them. And it's led to an amazing life that I'm so grateful for. And in turn, as I was able to help myself, I was able to help other people too. And that's what I do now. This is my life's work, is to be able to share energy awareness training with people. And it has 2 goals. The first goal is to end emotional suffering in our lifetime. Emotional suffering. You think, what? Can you actually do that? Absolutely. Because there's a methodology, there's trainings and methods now that you can learn to dissolve and release and disconnect yourself from these energies that cause chaos, cause disruption, cause distraction, cause pain, cause anxiety. You can disconnect from that and bring in energies that bring you peace, that bring you happiness, that bring you joy, that bring you fulfillment, that bring you abundance. And that's my work, to be able to show people how to end the emotional frustration, the suffering, and the throwback of carrying around this low vibration or negative or harmful energy. And the second goal in doing that is to become emotionally and energetically free. And that is the ability to keep yourself in a happy, joyous, what I call a high vibration or high vibratory state, no matter what's going on, no matter what you're dealing with, no matter what other people are dealing with, to be able to stay resourceful and positive and in your bliss. Is that possible? Yes, it is. It's not necessarily easy, but it's possible to do. And there's a training method on exactly how to do just that I've used and that I've shared with students all around the world who've gotten tremendous results with that. So that's kind of like a little journey of where I came from and why I'm doing energy work now and why I'm promoting energy awareness training, why you see me doing videos and sharing different methods. So, if this appeals to you, if this rings your bell, if you go, there might be something to this energy thing. In fact, I'm not the only one who says there is. You might have heard of a fellow named Nikola Tesla, who said a few years ago, one of the geniuses of the modern age, said that if you really want to understand the secrets and the mysteries of life, then you'll start looking at things in life in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And that's what I've done. I've taken all these things that we do in life and recognized that they are energies and they are vibrations and they are frequencies. And if you can read them, you'll have an amazing advantage over those who don't, because you'll be able to see things that other people don't see. You'll be able to do things other people can't do. And you'll be able to have things that a lot of people don't have, which more importantly, peace of mind and inner peace. And that's what it's all about. So I hope this has been informative to you. I'll be sharing more videos with you in the future. And thanks for listening. God bless.